Bill Gunter on 107.5 The Game.
It's the Summer of Fun giveaway. Log on 1075thegame.com. Register to win a Big Green Egg Grill just in time for summer from Griffin Pools and Spas and 1075 The Game. College of Charleston, a 9-0 winner last night here in town at Spirit Communications Park. Mark Kingston's team with just one hit in that shutout loss. Here are some of his thoughts after the ball game.
We'll move on, and we're already focused on Missouri. I think this team has shown how it will respond. When we take a punch, then we'll be ready to throw a punch. It's been happening now for a while, and Tuesdays have not been very kind to us all year, so we'll respond.
He tricked me earlier with that Tuesday's comment, Bill.
Yeah, both. Yeah, Jen and I were on the same page. We're well aware of what day it is.
When you guys are keeping me in line, you know that we're in trouble on that one. But when you get one hit by the College of Charleston, you lose 9-0. I can see what he's saying there. But I believe the stat was Carolina was much better on Wednesdays going into last night, until last night, obviously. Joining us now, All South Federal Credit Union Studios. In studio, John Wagoner and Claudia Chakamian. You guys are at very interesting stages of your life, about to walk across the stage. I was just at the Colonial Life Arena yesterday. Probably shouldn't ask me why, because Frank Martin was talking actually at Williams-Brice Stadium, but I'm a dummy, and I thought he was talking at Colonial Life Arena. So I walked in, and then no one was there, so I got to see the graduation setup. Looks very good. You guys are going to be in for a treat. But that's John's saying that he is not going to make it across the stage. Don't be that guy that fakes the trip. You're going to be that guy?
No, I would never do that, but I definitely could see myself actually tripping.
Okay. 50-50 chance, let's put it at?
60-40.
Okay. You said just off air going into this segment, classic rookie move by the way. You got to be completely silent in these commercial breaks and just look awkwardly at everybody else in the studio. That's what we do, right, Bill?
What, no? Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, is he talking? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we just sit here and stare at each other and kind of like.
But you said you feel slightly vindicated after last night, where last week you mentioned that you weren't quite sold on Gamecock baseball yet, despite having won 2 straight SEC series and heading into Ole Miss. And then the Ole Miss almost sweep happened, and that looked like a ridiculous take. And then last night happened, and again, you look like you might be somewhat sane.
Don't be that guy. You're about to flip. You're about to be the flip-flopper.
No, I'm going to hold on it. I think they showed. Again, they showed that they can show up for big games, and they did for 2 straight games, almost 3 straight games. And they took it to extra innings on Sunday. They played out of their mind. The bats were hot, and the pitching was great. But then you get to a game like this that seems like a sure bet. And
whoa, why did that seem like a sure bet?
Because it's a weekday game that feels like, with a program like this, a midweek game against an in-state opponent feels like a game South Carolina should win.
Okay, should win and a sure thing.
Well, not sure thing. Good bet. How about that?
I'm not disagreeing with you that South Carolina should beat the College of Charleston. I think the series all time was like 50-8 going into last night. Something like
that. So that feels like a game they should win. And on a consistent basis this season, they have not done this midweek. I don't know what it is about a midweek game that I don't know if they're up late playing Fortnite or whatever it is, because it's not schoolwork at this point. Because Clyde, what? Oh, I forgot you're old and you don't know about the...
No, they got the guy who's he's way too strong now in Fortnite, and he's just dominating everybody, and nobody can beat him.
It's Thanos.
Thanos, yeah. I was going to say Thoros, but yeah.
Why do you know about that, Bill?
It's all over the news, man. Keep up with the news.
It's a big deal.
I turned 36. I started trying to go back the other direction now to keep up with everything that's going on. I want to be young like the kids here.
I don't know.
Well, if you want to come play Fortnite, you let me know.
I'll come. Let's come hang out.
Yeah. Like I said,
we get a pizza, man.
Yeah, we want to get some pizza.
A pizza like Natural Light.
Claudia came in with a chip on her shoulder because the Frank's Discount Tire poll question this morning is, what is more unpredictable than baseball, and women is leading the way? Let's start with that beef.
Come on, you can't even include men in the conversation?
I was gonna wuss out and say the opposite sex, but men are pretty predictable, man.
Are you kidding?
Oh. Are you saying?
I'm throwing the challenge flag on that one too.
Yeah, come on.
Men are, I think, just as unpredictable as women. I think human nature, very unpredictable.
Humans are unpredictable.
Yeah.
Humans are weird. They don't make sense. They're all of them.
Just because you're unpredictable and you wore a dress today because you said you ran out of pants doesn't mean.
Yeah, man.
Have you met him? He's the most unpredictable person out here.
I'm a loose cannon.
This guy is an outlier, clearly. John is. You can't base men on John. Are you kidding me?
The college game in the studio this morning is strong. John's showing up, talking about Fortnite, and Claudia hasn't done laundry in a month and a half, trying to prep for final exams. So
Claudia has covered this Carolina baseball team a lot. So
Yeah, give me some credit.
What do you make of last night and
actually-
then what we've seen in the last?
it's actually
10 minutes
factually
before?
incorrect, as we learned last week. But I was like, so you've been covering them? No, I haven't been there for 2 weeks. All right.
Well, I
But-
was there all
but-
of last weekend.
Okay,
yeah.
what'd you think?
I thought the hitting was obviously the standout. The pitching still, has been the starting pitching has been struggling. Adam Hill had a decent night, not as well as we've seen from him the beginning of the season, but he did what he needed to do to help the team get the win and get the offense going. Logan Chapman and Cody Morris just struggled. They didn't have their command. Both Kingston mentioned about Chapman and Morris after those games how they didn't look like what they need to do. Luckily the offense stepped up in a big way, especially on Friday to help Logan out. But on Sunday, Gamecocks fought head to head the whole way, lost in that strikeout at the very end. So they weren't able to help Cody out. But I think the pitching is the biggest issue, and obviously you saw that last night. The hitting, you can't. You can try the best you can, but you're not going to consistently hit 9 hits or get 9 runs every single night. That's very hard to consistently get, and your pitching should be able to rebound and pick up for when your hitting is lacking. Of course, they're not going to be able to carry you the whole way when you get 1 hit the entire night, but they shouldn't be giving up 9 runs to prevent the offense to not even get a chance. I mean, when you are down 9-0 at the end of 5, it's hard to come back from that. So, I think last weekend was huge. The hitting was huge. I think it's going to continue into the SEC series. Like you said, we haven't seen the Gamecocks do well in midweek games. So I think for some reason they can't do well in midweek games. We'll see if they can bounce back against Mizzou this weekend, and hopefully the starting pitching will find what they need to do to get the job done.
It feels like they're just kind of phoning it in on these midweek games, right? Like this is like a recharge type situation so they can get to these weekend series. But because you guys were talking about before we came on that these midweek games don't really matter for the tournament standings, like getting into the NCAA tournament as much as these SEC series do. So I mean, it feels like to me like they're definitely phoning it in for these midweek games and just focusing on the weekend. But we'll see if it's an effective strategy.
I think phoning it in is awfully harsh there. But there is something going on for sure. But I thought the problem had been corrected. I mean, we just saw a Furman beatdown. We saw a win against the Citadel that was relatively easy, I think, not too long ago. I mean, it's 10-2 at Furman a while back. That was the last midweek game they had. And then this 10-game stretch was ridiculous from an offensive standpoint. And then last night we see it go away. So how much credence do you two give to playing your former coach and maybe some emotions or focus issues from the players? They're both shaking their heads vehemently that doesn't exist.
It's a load of garbage.
After Sunday's game, I don't know if you listened to the press conference, but
Sure.
they were asked, Hunter Taylor was asked, what's the emotion behind it? And he just said, there's none. Like, I can speak for every player who played under him that it doesn't matter.
That's not true either.
Right. Did you guys hear what Mark Kingston said after the game last night?
Yeah,
he said
it was
the players tried to say that it was just another game, but clearly they were affected.
Yeah, I mean, they have to say that. They have to say and it's kind of like what Chad Holbrook said yesterday about his time up here and or I guess he didn't say it yesterday, but he said it on Tuesday night following the Citadel game. Look, everybody down there is on both sides. Charleston, Chad Holbrook, and the players in South Carolina are professionals. They said what needed to be said. You very rarely do you get the guy who comes out and goes, "No, we hate Chad." Or the player for South Carolina, "No, we hated Chad Holbrook. Man, we hated him when he was here. We want to beat him." No, everybody did what they had to say. And then Chad Holbrook obviously wasn't going to come out and say, "I feel very jilted by what South Carolina did to me, and I would love to beat them, and this game means a lot to me." They said what they needed to say. I don't know how much it impacted the 9 innings last night. Did it maybe impact them in the prep leading up to the game? I don't know. Again, to me, it's just as simple as it's baseball. Charleston played well last night. They got a great pitching performance. South Carolina got an awful pitching performance, and that's really as simple as it is.
Well, I'm with you again if you get a 9-inning performance, but there were 2 pitchers for the College of Charleston. Their closer comes in and gets 6 outs, no problem, strikes out 3 guys. And if we had seen something like this relatively frequently, but again, we're looking it up in here in studio this morning. The one-hit shutouts.
But we have seen, I get it. You're saying one hit. You're focusing on the one hit. We've seen this season where the bats just go silent. I get it, not to the tune of one hit, but we've seen it in losses to Furman and Citadel where all of a sudden getting to 5 hits is a problem. Getting 4 hits is an issue.
But against a marquee pitcher, we haven't seen it, especially recently. And that was our Friday night guy last night.
Well, that's the strange thing is that you've seen that. What John just said is not. They have not phoned it in. They don't phone in the midweek. But you bring up a legitimate point. There is something in the midweek games right now that is a bugaboo for the guy. And it goes back to I have no clue what it is, because there is a reason they've dropped the number of midweek games that they have, yet have a winning record in the best league, best conference in baseball. There is something to that, and I don't know what it is.
We will continue the conversation. Our student section segment, the dramatic conclusion coming up before graduation. We got to get how you guys are feeling, the plans, the whole thing. John said he's cleaning up the house for the parents who are going to be in town. All the details.
We're going to totally ruin it with Fortnite and pizza.
No, I'll try to avoid that. It's the early game. It's 107.5 The Game. The Gamecocks 9-0 loss last night to the College of Charleston, clearly leading the way. No explanation here in the studio except it's baseball from Bill Gunter, right?
Yeah, you guys got a better one?
And no, I don't have a better one other than, wow, what is? How can this team be so good at times, and how can they be not so good at others? Claudia, what you saw last night, since you've seen probably the most, certainly in person, of this Gamecock baseball team, did it surprise you the least? Were you not necessarily surprised? Because I was maybe not shocked, but very surprised by the outcome being as one-sided as it was. Yeah,
I was surprised by the fact that they could only get 1 hit. And just couldn't find any momentum at the plate. But like we said, it's baseball. Like, things happen. You're not going to come out, like I said, you're not going to come out there, score 9 runs a game. You're not going to come out there and win every game either. That's why baseball seasons are so long. You're not going to win every game. You're not going to go 16-0 like in the NFL. So same thing with basketball. You're not going to win every single game. There's just too many of them. And you're going to have those low points in the season as well. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it. It's the end of the season. You know, again, they didn't have TJ Hopkins last night. That's been a huge boost at the top of the lineup. So he tweets us back at the end of Sunday's game. So, you know, that's just one thing. But sometimes when, especially this weekend, when that lineup was clicking so well and then things change, that was the big problem during that stretch when they were losing like everything. Everyone was injured. So sometimes maybe that injury was an issue, that just because you didn't have that leadoff guy at the top, things got a little weird in people's head. It's a mind game, you know? I don't know. That could be an answer, but was surprised, but I'm not super concerned about it.
And this team to you still feels like an NCAA tournament regional team, not necessarily a super regional team. John, what about you?
I think regional is a fair bet. I mean, if they can keep now, I don't know how long Hopkins is going to be out. Has that been like? It hasn't been. Yeah.
Mark Kingston might tell us a little bit more later on today when he talks with the media this afternoon.
Yeah. Well, you know, depending on how long he is out, that could be an issue. But if they can play the way they do on the weekends consistently for, 2-3 series, like, yeah, I think super regional is possible, but I'm going to say probably not.
Okay, you guys both walking here. What day? Tomorrow? Next
Saturday.
day? Saturday. Okay. Claudia, I get more sadness from you about the graduation.
Yeah, I cry a lot.
John?
Oh, okay.
It's a big moment, and I'm excited for it, but I'm excited for what's on the other side of it.
What are you, running for political office, man?
Here's what I just got. John's going to tap dance across the stage and get his thing. He's going to do some weird celebration at the end.
100%.
Might do some dancing.
Claudia's going to be bawling as she goes across and
Hugging
booing.
everyone.
They're going to have to give a hug to her.
I'll do one of those
emotional.
Fortnite celebrations. How about that?
Yeah, Fortnite celebrations. I feel like that's the question Jen asked me. Bill, where's Dover? East Coast or West Coast?
Claudia just admitted she's emotional and yet had a huge problem with women being on the more unpredictable part
See?
of the poll
Yeah,
question.
yeah. How
Human
about that?
nature, they're emotional.
How dare you?